if 5 minus log 2n plus 1, everything in bracket, raised to the power 1 on 3n plus 1, or divided by a log of 2n plus 1 raised to the power 2, right? So we want to find the values of the f. That is what the question is asking us to find, right? So you can see the pattern here. So the pattern here is telling you that what you are going to use and how you are going to use them. Is that okay? Now the first step in solving this particular problem here is to make sure that this guy here, this guy which is the 5 here, vanish out of the logarithm family. What I mean by that, this guy here is coming from the, everything here is affecting this logarithm, and everything down here is affecting this logarithm here. But remember, the 5 has no any logarithm sign attached to that. So why don't we take 5 from this house here? So what I mean by this house, remember, everything is equal to 0, right? So everything is equal to 0. Okay, now why don't you take this guy from this house here? What I mean by this house here is that everything before the equal sign is, I consider that to be one house, and then everything after the equal sign is also another house. So since you are not part of the logarithm family, why don't we jump from here and come to this house? Okay, so let's hear what the logarithm families are saying, right? So how do you do that? In order for this 5 to vanish, what we are going to do here is this guy can cross the equal to sign and comes this way. Is that okay? But if you do it that way, remember that we are going to left it to a negative log of everything here, right? And then this 5 also tends to be a negative 5 here. Is that okay? So because to avoid that negative mistake in this logarithm equation here, right? So what we are going to do here is why don't we move everything here, the negative of the logarithm, to the other side of the equation? So this is what I'm trying to say, right? So that we can avoid a negative sign. So from this we have 5, that is going to be equal to, so this logarithm, negative logarithm here, is going to the other side, so making it so a positive, right? So that's a 2n plus 1 raised to the power 1 on 3 n plus a plus 1, everything divided by log of 2n plus 1 raised to the power 2. Is that okay? So perfect. Now from this point, what are we going to do here? What we are going to do is to apply the logarithm or definition, some of the properties and law here. You see the pattern, the arrows that I draw at the beginning of this video. You may always go back and go and check it. So what we are doing here is that if you remember this property here, right? If you are already on this channel, you know this, right? 2 raised to the power, so this x has to drop down, right? So we have that is one of the law, the properties of a logarithm. Is that okay? And you have a very simple way we explain that on our channel. So if you are new here, make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a better definitions of all the mathematics topics that you are supposed to understand here. Okay, so applying this idea to this particular question here is that this 1 on 3 n plus 1 will drop, right? So it will drop here, as well as this 2 here will also drop. So if this guy drops here, then we are going to have 5 equal to, that is, right, 1 on 3 n plus 1, right, into bracket, and then the log here, the log, that is the log 2n plus 1, everything here divided by, remember the 2 here will drop, so we have a 2 and then log of 2n and then plus 1. Are you there? Okay, so from this point, what are we going to do here? So the logarithm here can vanish, right? So because I'm having log 2n plus 1 here, and then the same log 2n plus 1 added down here. So what are we going to do? This guy, they cancel out, right? If they cancel out, what is going to remain? We have 5. That is equal to 1 on 3n plus 1 divided by 2. This is what we are going to have. Or maybe because of the equal to sign here, I can rewrite. Most of the students like the variables to be on the left hand side of the equation. So let's do it like that. So you may solve it as it is, but because of a simple understanding purpose, we can rewrite this thing to go like this, right? It's almost the same thing because of the equal to sign here, right? So we are just bringing this guy to this side and then that guy to the other side for how students normally understand this thing. Okay. I believe from this point that will be very easy for you to tackle, right? So by the way, we will multiply everything by 2, so that this 2 will cancel this 2. We have 1 on 3 n plus 1, that is equal to 10, right? Okay, so what are you going to do here? What are you going to do? Why don't you pause the video and just give it a try, right? So you have 1 on 3, that is the n. This 1 here, subtract 1 from both sides of the equation here tends to be 1, right? So minus 1, then minus 1, so this 1 will vanish. Okay, so now from here, what's next? We are looking for the n, so you multiply here by 3, and then multiply here by 3. You have our n to be equal to 27. Once again, if you are new on this channel, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, just comment below for help. Alright, and then if you are okay with this particular video, so don't forget to give us a thumbs up, and then comment down below if you have any issue. If 2 exponent s is equal to 5, and then we want to find the values of the x, so that is what the question is asking us to find, right? So some questions like this, the base here is different, the base of this guy is also different, so there's no way you can equate the exponent to any power since they don't have the same base. So what I normally do is that this x here is not coming from the same parent, right? So what are we going to do here? So the key here, you see, this is an exponential equation, right? So the key here, once you have any exponential equation that wants to give you a headache, why don't you think of the twin brother? Right, so the twin brother of exponential equations are what? Log, right? So logarithm, right? So logarithmic equation. So why don't you think? So we are going to apply this thing to this particular problem here. So the first step here is to take log of both sides of the equation that you are having, since the bases are not the same, right? So once we have done, once again, having said that log here, this x here will drop here. Yes, we have log of 2. That's going to be log of 5, right? So we are looking for the x here, so all that we are going to do is just to divide here by log 2, and then you divide here by log 2. So this one cancel this, and then we have our x to be equal to log of 5, and then log 2. Give me your answer to this x in the comment section below. That tells me that you are following the lessons. Is that okay? This is similar to the questions that we just solved here, but here the only thing that is in addition is to 3 significant odd figures. So you should know the value or the meaning of this thing here, right? So by the end of this video, I will just explain this thing. If you know this thing, I always advise you to pause the video and try your best before you come and check the solution. Okay, congratulations for just trying, right? So that is just a first step for you to attain a better grade in mathematics. Now solve this into 3 significant means that, look at this thing. So for sure, just like the first example, you see the bases here are not the same, so that is why we are taking the log of both sides of the equation, right? Okay, perfect. What are we going to do here? The x will drop, and then the 8 will also drop, right? Okay, fine. If the x drop from this point, it means that we are going to have s, right? So s log of 0.3, that is equal to 8 log of 0.5. Are you there? Okay, perfect. What are we going to do? Remember, we are looking for these values of x here. So we are going to divide everywhere by log of 0.3, and then log of 0.3, so that we have our x to be equal to why don't you continue from this line here? Is that okay? So we have 8 log of 0.5, and then divided by log of 0.3, right? So just tell me the values of this thing in the comment section. So the answer that I'm having here, so after solving this guy here, you should have, right? So you should have here in solving this thing, you may use a calculator. If you are not good in it, you may, if it is provided that it's allowed, right? So at this point, you may use a calculator to find the values of this thing, right? But if you know, that is good, right? If you don't know, right, so that is also fine. So the values of this x here, that was going to be equal to I have the values of this x here, that should be 4.6057. Right? If your answer to this thing is different from what I'm having here, just make sure that you share your answer in the comment section below. Now, here is the thing here. Significant figures means that you are starting with the first non-zero number. Is that okay? The first non-zero number here is 4. So 1, 2, 3. The question says that so 3 significant odd figures. So 1, 2, 3. We are starting with the first non-zero. So 1, 2, 3. So once you end here, look at the next number that follows. Is it more than 5 or is from 5 upward, right? So from 5 upward. Once it's from 5 upward, we are going to convert that to be 1 and add it to this. Is that okay? Once again, if the number we are doing that to 3 significant, remember this is the question. Okay. 3 significant figures, and then we are starting with the first non-zero number. So 1, 2, 3. That is the 3 significant figures. So look at the next number. Is it from 5 upward? If it's from 5 upward, that is true. So we are going to convert 1 and add it to it. So here we are going to have 4. Let me use the black pen here. So here we are going to have 4.61. Is that okay? If it is less than 5, what are you going to do? Less than 5. What are you going to do? Your comment below.